Okay, I'm going to quickly go over the video key for this quiz, but I do want to say that now that we have 6 quizzes graded, if you take the average of those 6 quiz grades and don't drop any of them, that is the lowest your quiz grade could possibly be. If you get a higher grade on either this quiz, quiz 7, and quiz 8, which usually people do, it's designed to be like a take-home quiz. It's more similar to homework. You can only go up from here. If those grades are lower, then they're not gonna, then they could just be dropped. So if you take the average of your 6 quizzes that you have right now, that's the lowest your quiz grade can get. So if you're wondering where you're standing for the final, you can take the average of your 2 exams right now, because if the third one is worse, it'll be dropped, but if the third one is better, then your exam grade will go up. So your exams will only go up from here, and your quizzes will only go up from here. And the way the breakdown of the class is your exams are 25%. So if you multiply your exam average by 25%, you'll be able to calculate that. If you multiply your quiz average by 15%, and just take the average of the ones that you have right now, the first 6 and the first 2 exams. First 6 quizzes, first 2 exams, then you'll know kind of where your quiz stands. I guess I haven't uploaded quiz 6 yet, but it's coming. And then your homework is 20%. And I think I dropped maybe 1 homework grade. I can't remember. And your attendance, you get 6 dropped grades, so 6 absences is also 20%. What am I missing? 20, I can't remember. Oh, your final exam is also worth 20. So you can figure out where you're at with these points right now. And if you have 100 average on all of these things, you could have right now an 80 without even taking the final. You could have a 70 without even taking the final. So you could already be passing the class and not even need to do well on the final to pass. If you're shooting for an A, you'll need to get at least 10, if you have all of these are at 100, you'll need to get at least 50% on the final to get an A. So just think about that. And then any extra credit, after you add all these up, extra credit would add as points on top of that. Okay, so I just wanted to take a minute to talk about your exam grades. Sorry that your quiz 6 grades aren't in, but when they are, then that will apply. Maybe they'll be in by tomorrow. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. Okay, so the first question, for the following reaction, predict the product for the intermediate A and all possible products for the final product B. So the first one from intermediate A, hopefully you remember this from the electrophilic aromatic substitution. You could put a chlorine, it could go anywhere. Now this is a withdrawing group, but unlike most withdrawing groups, it is an ortho-para director. So that means that we can get either HSO3 added at the ortho position. I'm going to draw it through the S because that's the thing that's bonded. SO3H, or you can get it bonded at the para position. So these are all possible products. So you would get 1 point for this and 1 point for each of these. Next question. The following reaction will not effectively proceed as written. Please explain why it would not work very well, and then propose a product that would most likely be formed. So this would not work very well because I'm going to draw out the mechanism to answer this question. The way this reaction works, hopefully you remember, is this attacks here and that bond breaks. And so we'd get a positive charge right here. And the reason that wouldn't work very well is because based on the mechanism, a positive charge forms on a primary, spelled primary wrong, which will likely, it will be unstable and will therefore likely rearrange. So I'm looking for this full explanation in your answer. You need to explain like why you can't just say it forms on a primary. You have to explain why that's bad that it forms on a primary to get the full point. So the likely product would include the rearrangement. So the positive charge would go there to the secondary position. And so benzene's pretty bad. Working on improving my handwriting for y'all. I think it would look like this, but I'm going to count the number of carbons just in case. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. All right, so this would be the product, so you'd also get 1 point for this. So 1 point for your explanation. It needs to be a full explanation, and then 1 point for the product. Okay, what reagents do you need to accomplish the following transformation? Clearly label the order which would best accomplish the reaction. Okay, let's see. We have a acyl group, which is electron withdrawing, but it's moderately. And we have a nitro group, which is electron withdrawing, but it's strongly. These are both meta-directors, and they're meta apart from each other, ortho-meta. Okay, so when I see this, I'm thinking they're both meta-directors or meta apart from each other. So for that, you could start for either one, but it's best to start with this one because it's less electron withdrawing, so it would overall be more nucleophilic. So I'm going to start with that. And I know that this is going to be my electrophile, so this is what I want to attach to my carbon, which means I need a positive charge right there. So that should be a chlorine. And then I need a Lewis acid to facilitate that leaving group leaving. And that would give me this. And then the next step would be to get the nitro, and so I need HNO3 and H2SO4. And it would go to the meta position, so either one of those is fine. So if you should get a point for these reagents, half a point for each one, a half a point for each one of these, and then 1 point for the right order, for doing the less activating one first. Okay, propose reagents to accomplish the transformation of a primary alcohol to an aldehyde. So that is an oxidation reaction, and so that would be PCC is the one that stops a primary alcohol at an aldehyde. Carboxylic acid to an aldehyde. So that is a reduction reaction. So usually we're using like LAH or NABH4, but we learned in this chapter that those don't work very well. So they'll keep oxidizing all the way down to a primary alcohol. So for this one, we would need either dibol H, or, and you could have drawn it out too, or lithium triterbutoxy aluminum hydride. I always want it to be lithium aluminum triterbutoxy hydride, but that doesn't make sense. Okay. And this whole thing is negative, and then this lithium is positive. Okay, so that's the answer to the quiz. I hope that was helpful, and hopefully I'll see y'all feeling better on Monday. Happy weekend.